The old takers are back. The old takers are back. And then we are likely going to see a government of the capitalist sector. This is capitalism in view, of course. And then I've said it privately, I'm going to say publicly again for the first time, maybe for the first time actually. The only thing that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the weeks and days and months and most likely that is going to last, the only thing it will benefit Nigerians is that it is the turn of the South. That's the only thing. I'm just saying it plain and clear. It is the turn of the South. Because apart from Olusegun Obasanjo, who most likely ran a pan-Nigeria government or administration, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua also did run a pan-Nigeria administration, basically. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, against his wish, running a feudalism government, was under duress to have run a sectional government. Of course, whereas he was from the South, he had actually wanted to make the benefits of democracy go across board. The challenge was he needed to please a certain section of the country because of the demise of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. So his 6 years in office actually led him delivering dividends to democracy and listening to only a section of this country, and then had to please them, hoping that upon being re-elected as president in 2015, he'll be able to now maybe run a pan-Nigeria government or stretch his hands to the Niger Delta or the South where he came from, or the South generally. He never had a chance. They did not just bend his eyes and his focus on the North, they also betrayed him when the time came. Of course, that's how Goodluck Ebele Jonathan ended. So Buhari was a nepotistic, tribalistic, sectional president. He ran a government of the North for the North and by the North. Of course, that's it. And even if there were a couple of persons in the South that benefited from that government, it was basically 90% of the time it was for the North. So Tinubu is coming to balance that equation. Oh God. It's painful that after nearly 120 years of the amalgamation of the Northern and Southern protectorate of this country, we are still discussing North and South dichotomy. It's painful. It means that we have not grown. 120 after a century and 2 decades, okay, almost 2 decades now, we have still not grown past that. We are still in the 18th century, where Nigeria was still run 2 different organs, 2 different countries, and then this amalgamation came in 1914, and now we are still going to be running a government of the North for 8 years, government of the South for 8 years. Then why is this marriage happening in the first place? Obviously. So that's why you are seeing all the old takers from the South, the lucky Igbinedions. It's a public video, right? When we want to discuss state matters, I'll talk about lucky here, but this is national TV. So I'll bring it down. Don't worry, I'll bring it down. The James Ibori, the Deepri Alamesiga, the Donald Duke, and a lot of others. Of course, a couple of days ago, Daniel Bryer, spokesman of the Atiku, I'll talk about Atiku. We need to talk about Atiku actually. Atiku's campaign organization. They say that a very strong force in the obedient movement, or maybe a member of the Labour Party, who worked with Peter Obi for the last election, has accepted to working in the Tinubu's government. Maybe most likely. Maybe it's just Professor Patu told me, respect to him. So we'll wait for all that to come up, and then that's fine. That's fine. Nothing. Speculations will not be enough to start to talk about various things. It's okay. For the time that Tinubu's government is going to last, I can assure you that the benefit it will bring to Nigeria is that the South to run the government. It's the turn of the South to run the government. And that's the only thing. That's why I've seen all the old takers. And then I've argued with some of my friends, especially ex-classmates, and we've had to have this conversation of the fact that, the South lost out and all that. So I asked, these people, the 1999 class of governors, the Deepri Alamesiga, the Lucky Igbinedion, the James Ibori, the Donald Duke, the Peter Odili, of course, eventually, and all that came into Topaz and all that. Ask yourself, and of course, remember that at some point, some spillover of the 2007, 2011, the Rotimi Amechi and all that. They at some point wanted to create an and an effect of the we're fighting for the South. But to what end? Balance it. What was the benefit? Which refinery is working in Nigeria that now in the South that these guys, which port is working to its full capacity? So what was the essence? These guys were after their pockets. They wanted to become empire. And then sometimes my friend was saying that even people that were close to these guys understood that the problem they had at that time was that why they were saving so much money, rooting for so much power, making so much intervention so that they can become the emperor of the South. That's what they wanted. So it was more like a survivor, a battle, a competition. So why these cliques this? Were they united in creating a common goal for the South? No! The answer is no. It is for the pocket and for the pocket. So all the monies you had. It's unfortunate. Back to Atiku Abubakar. I think it's fair to say that Atiku Abubakar is or was the biggest loser of the 2029 elections. I look every day. Lucky Igbinedion, for example, full family PDP gave one of their property to Atiku for his state headquarters of the campaign, and while the matter is still in court, you see how these guys have switched camps. So I'm saying it. Obviously, our political class is not even smart enough. James Ibori, these guys were PDP faithfuls. They probably had giving money, giving support, but they had options. They had options. Look at what Reno Mokri is doing on social media currently. Defending Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, the problem is against obedience and Peter Obi. So anything that Bola Ahmed Tinubu do makes sense, and everybody. Look at Ben Murray Bruce, for example. All these guys, because the Southern ideology has been sold to them privately, and now they are running it. But they worked with Atiku. So these guys actually worked with Atiku without any iota of trust that Atiku won the election, or that they will even do anything spectacular to giving Atiku an edge. I personally didn't like the Atiku brand for this election, because you can't wish to take over power from a northern Fulani Muslim, whereas you are a northern Fulani Muslim. This is a country for. I know that there are several things that have been destroyed in this country, but come on, Atiku, come on. So I didn't even give him a second chance. I didn't look at him for the second time, right? I at some point thought that okay, maybe Wiki would have had the ticket in PDP, maybe Osinbajo would have had the ticket in APC, and Peter Obi. Maybe it's not that Wiki even matches the capacity of Osinbajo and Peter Obi, but most likely it was good to throw them into the ring and let's see what would have happened in the elections. And so I'm seeing all these old takers now that seemingly worked with Atiku jumping in less than few weeks. In few weeks. And then there you are seeing publicly of these visitations to Aso Rock, Aso Villa, Bola Ahmed Tinubu defending the programs and policy of the president that is nothing actually. Lucky Igbinedion say we should be patient with palliative. That's why we're patient with you for 8 years, Lucky Igbinedion. We're patient with you for 8 years. Patient dog is the fattest one. No, we were patient. We have been patient in this state. We have been patient. You have been patient. And we'll be patient. Endurance, perseverance. Now, this country, everybody is asking us to be patient. Whereas these guys, we are there. Go and check. None of the agenda. Let's assume that James Ibori, Lucky Igbinedion, Alame Sega, Peter Odile, Donald Duke, and a lot of these guys are going to be discussing with Tinubu on exploring certain opportunities of the South. Maybe make all the refineries in the South begin to work. Right? Maybe ensure that the security of lives and property is paramount in southern Nigeria. Maybe that can begin to engineer some level of development. Maybe we could look at how to outport the Warri port, the Port Harcourt port, the Calabar port. We hear now there's an opening in the Gelegele Seaport in Edo State. Let's see that development in the south actually happen. Let us see an offshoot, because of course it means that the south probably has 8 years. If anything happens to the court, but Peter Obi gets his mandate, maybe he runs 8 years. Of course, the north is going to take over, and then everything moves. God, this is not a country actually. We are just running one empire, like a movie set, where somebody calls the shot, and then it is morning already. Let me go and rest. It's okay.